NCAA basketball totals for Tuesday, March 7th. We got some ACC action here. And for you new guys, this is the segment where we look at totals set by odds makers. We try to beat that line either over or under the total. Our word of the day is over for this segment because we're going to go over both the games we have on tap, and we're going to talk about them in just 1 second. Don't forget, we got sbrpicks.com, Sportsbook Review, YouTube channel, Facebook page, things you need to check out. We also have our NBA Live segment that we do at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. That one's been a blast. A lot of guys jump in and we talk about games and stuff like that. So you definitely want to tune into that one. That's on our Facebook page. Currently on the season, we're doing just fine. We're trying to finish off the total segment for NCAA hoops on a high note. So let's see if we can do just that. Here we go. Let's jump into some games here. We got first one up here. Click the wrong button. We're going to ACC. We got North Carolina State and Clemson. This is the early game. Oddsmakers have it at 152. They only met up once this year. And Oddsmakers said it at exactly the final score they had in that one when NC State visited Clemson just not too long back. Final was 78-74, so 152. I'm going to go over. Now, when we look at that game, the tempo was pretty fast. Not extremely fast. You got North Carolina State getting up 61 attempts, Clemson 62. But they've been up-tempo all year, and I don't expect that to change tonight. That's their identity. I don't think they're going to all of a sudden become lockdown defenders, even with this being, or especially with this being on a neutral court. In that matchup, NC State shot 49%, Clemson 46.8% from the floor. They both shot around 40% from distance, so they really shot the ball very well. NC State didn't get the line very much, though, just 8 times overall. Clemson 18 times. That's a decent amount, but it was a really clean game. Not a lot of turnovers, and I expect we're going to see more of the same tonight. So that 152 seems just about right. But you're talking about an NC State team that averages 78 points per game, and they allow 79.7 points per game. They've really struggled on the defensive end. We'll talk more about that in a second. Clemson, they're averaging 75 points per game, a little bit better on the defensive end, averaging just under, or allowing opponents just under 72. But when we look at these teams, now offensively, they're not bad across the board. They both can shoot. You got NC State, they're shooting 47% from the floor. You got Clemson, they're shooting over 45%. I mean, two good scoring teams. Blossogame's a stud. Defensively, though, they're really bad. And the reason why they're bad is they allow so much tempo. Clemson, they're allowing 58.6 attempts per game, which is not super fast, but it still ranks outside the top 200 teams in NCAA hoops as far as tempo allowed. NC State, they're even worse. They're allowing 63.6 attempts per game. That ranks outside the top 300 teams. So they love to get up and down the floor, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see in this matchup. It's the tournament time. Nerves are going to be going. I think they're going to lack a little bit on the defensive end, and I like for these two teams to get up and down. Statistically, across the board, both of them allow their share. Both teams allow not only their share of points, but percentage-wise, they're pretty poor, with Clemson allowing opponents to shoot over 45% from the floor. Same thing with NC State. So look for them both to score tonight. And for this to be a pretty interesting matchup here, it's going to be up and down, and I'm going to go over that 152. Next one we got, Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. They also just played the one time this year. So then I want to double check here real quick before I continue on this Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. I want to make sure I didn't mess this up. Yeah, we're right on that. Okay. I just want to make sure I had the matchups correctly on the times they've met this year. Sometimes you got to double check even when you're doing a video, but we'll just treat it like a live segment and continue from there. So they just met up. Pittsburgh visited Georgia Tech just a little bit while back, similar to that Clemson NC State game where they just met up. Georgia Tech won, very slow tempo team, 61-52. Now, Pittsburgh got 53 attempts in that game, which is slow, and Georgia Tech's been that way when they've had teams at home. Now, oddsmakers set this line at 132, so you can see the difference right away. I mean, we have a final here of 113, but all of a sudden oddsmakers made it 20 points higher. Should get your radar up a little bit. It gets mine up a little bit, and I believe it's going to go over. So I'm going to back over this 132. When we look at that game a little bit more closely, also the shooting percentages were not that great from Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech at home, they shot okay, 46%, but Pittsburgh, they shot just 37.7% from the floor in that matchup, which is a far cry from how they've been shooting on the season, which is at 44.5%. So, we look at this game, even more telling is the fact they could not hit a three-pointer, with Pittsburgh shooting 30% from distance and Georgia Tech just 21%. Like the Clemson NC State game, not a lot of turnovers. It was a pretty clean game. They didn't get to the line that much. That 132 is pretty low. Georgia Tech likes to go slow and they play good defense, but I really think this is going to be a much quicker tempo affair. even though Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech are not really fast teams, they both average over 55 attempts per game, which is above what we saw in that last matchup. They also, what they allow is quite a bit more, when they're allowing about 60 attempts per game. And that's a lot, actually, for how slow they go offensively, but what they're allowing. But again, that's ACC play, which probably has hurt that, where they're playing some teams that really like to get up tempo, like, North Carolina and Duke and stuff like that. Offensively, pretty good stats across the board. You got Pittsburgh averaging 73.5 points per game, Georgia Tech 66.3. That's not great. That ranks outside the top 300 teams, but they're okay shooting team. Their efficiency ratings are not bad. Also, they're shooting 43.5% from the floor. That's not great, but Pittsburgh has not been great under Stallings defensively, as they allow opponents to shoot over 45%. So I take that back a little bit. Georgia Tech's been pretty poor offensively. They've been doing a pretty good job defensively, but again, they're facing a Pittsburgh team that likes to get up tempo and allows their share of points, as they're allowing over 75 points per game. Georgia Tech, they've been good statistically, but mostly that's because like I said, their tempo is not extremely fast of what they allow, under 60 attempts per game. But overall, when we look at them and how they match up with Pittsburgh, a team that shoots almost 44.5%, they rank in the top 100 in efficiency and effective field goal percentage. Georgia Tech, they've been great, but mostly they've been really good at home. When we see Georgia Tech, one more thing I want to mention, and we'll go ahead and stop this video, is when we look at Georgia Tech, when they've been on the road, a little bit different. So when we have them at home, defensively, they've been really good. But when they're away, like, they allowed 70 points to a pretty slow Miami team. When they're away, they allowed 81 points to Wake Forest. That makes some sense. Wake Forest is pretty fast. When they're away to Clemson, they allowed 74. When they are away to a slow Virginia team, they allowed 62. 62 against Virginia Tech. That's actually respectable. They allowed NC State to get up 86. So they're just different from when they play at home and when they play on the road. So I expect for this neutral floor matchup here for them to go ahead and give up their share of points against this Pittsburgh team, and for Pittsburgh, who's not very good defensively, to go ahead and do the same. So look for this to get over that 132. That's it. So we have North Carolina State, Clemson over the 152, and we got Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh over the 132. So ACC action is here for conference play. We're still having a good season overall in NCAA total, so let's see if we can finish up with some good picks here for March and March Madness, and I wish you luck on your picks today.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, don't miss out on the best basketball betting content available on YouTube. Click our logo button on the bottom left to subscribe. And as always, guys, give us a like and drop your comments below, because we want to hear from you. Visit our website to take advantage of all our free products.